It's going to be a 60-minute war, and the team that wants it the most is going to win.
The 2018 Pitt Panthers opened the season to uncharacteristic expectations. They'll be led by sophomore quarterback Kenny Pickett, who had just one career start, and upset over number 2 Miami to close out 2017. Head coach Pat Narduzzi did nothing to temper expectations, declaring at the kickoff luncheon that the next time he'd see everyone, it would be in Charlotte. But nothing was easy in 2018. Pitt had to come from behind in a tough start to the season, find out who they were, and dig deep. The season was a difficult one for the entire city of Pittsburgh, and the Panthers became an unlikely symbol of the city, of toughness, resilience, and of a desire, a drive to keep moving forward. And if they would become champions, they would have to do it the hard way, in a fight to the finish.
We number one in the coastal! Yeah!
And Sweet Caroline goes on a cappella.
Maurice French waits back and he'll take it at the 9 for the Panthers. Finds a little bit of a lane over to the right side. Needs a block on the kicker. He gets it down the sideline. And will he go the distance? Yes, he will. 91 yards on the touchdown.
You couldn't script a better start to the 2018 season than the Pitt Panthers enjoyed. Maurice French took the opening kickoff back to the house, and Pat Narduzzi trotted his team onto the field knowing that while expectations were low nationally, they were sky high in Pittsburgh. And why not? They had a defense that could take the ball away and prevent opponents from scoring in any situation. But 2018 wasn't just about defense, even though sometimes it was about DeMar Hamlin, like it was in the second possession of the game.
Intercepted and going the other way. Hamlin's got it, the free safety. Hamlin makes a miss at the 40. Now he gets some blocks. Look out.
It was also going to be about Kenny Pickett, the returning sophomore quarterback making a second start today.
Take a look at Kenny Pickett and what he's all about. He's all about business and taking this offense to the promised land.
In the first half, for the first game of the season, Kenny Pickett led his offense to the promised land, again and again and again, scoring those 33 points all in the first half. Kenny threw 2 beautiful touchdown passes to returning senior Rafael Araujo-Lopes. And it was at worst a minor inconvenience and maybe even strategy that Pitt didn't score any points at all in the second half. They'd still beaten Albany 33-7, and now they had to keep their composure with the biggest game of the season on the horizon.
Obviously, it's Penn State week, and it's obviously game 2. It's a big game because it is a rivalry game, and they get to come to Heinz Field, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think our kids will be excited. I think the city of Pittsburgh will be excited.
There are a few things in college football that match the rivalry games, and very few rivalries are as fierce as Pitt versus Penn State. In 2018, Penn State came back to the Steel City for possibly the last time in a very long time. It was a downpour, but the weather didn't matter. The fans turned out in droves to see Pitt versus Penn State renew the rivalry in Pittsburgh one more time. And while the weather may not have been what anyone hoped for, the game in the first half more than lived up to expectations. Pitt had entered 2018 expecting Darren Hall to take the reins as a feature back. While Hall would have a very successful season, it was Qadree Ollison who had re-emerged as a star during the Penn State game. But for all of Olson's efforts, Pitt could not get out of their own way. And while the defense occasionally stepped up and made enough big plays to keep the score close, Penn State scored a late touchdown to enter halftime up 14-6. But it was an 8-point game, and still very well within reach as the second half began. But all 3 phases are important in a football game, and Pitt's special teams were not performing well enough to keep the Panthers in the game. Punts were blocked, punts were muffed, and punts were returned for touchdowns. Field position became a problem and eventually became insurmountable. As the game trudged on to the fourth quarter, a game that had seemed like it would remain close throughout became a blowout. A rivalry game, Penn State began to pile on the points, and Pitt could not stop them. Despair finally emerged as a true winner for Pitt Panther fans, and when Pat Narduzzi trotted off the field, the score was 51-6, Penn State.
Well, the first thing I want to do is, apologize to the Pitt, nation out there. That was not Pitt football right there.
Ollison, Big Gary.
There weren't many positives to take from Pitt's loss to Penn State, but if there was one, it was Qadree Ollison's performance in the first half of the game.
Qadree Ollison left side, touchdown Pittsburgh. Second rushing score from Ollison.
Ollison had a first half that you'd love to have again.
After emerging as the ACC Rookie of the Year in his redshirt freshman campaign, Ollison took a back seat to returning running back James Conner, and the following year in 2017 emerged as the ultimate teammate.
Switched to fullback a year ago because of injuries to George Aston. Played fullback in front of Darren Hall. Sacrificed his opportunity to carry the football. Big time teammate.
Ollison left side. Ollison to midfield. And out of bounds into orange territory.
2017 saw Ollison move back into a starting role in the backfield, but more than just a teammate and a running back, he became a vocal leader as well.
We take him to the west side. Yeah! We Pittsburgh strong. Yeah! Let's get it, baby.
30's back in the ballgame. Look at him.
Ollison's hard-nosed, power-rushing style resonated with the city and the fans and bowled over opponents regularly, whether they liked it or not. It was no surprise that he was selected in the NFL draft following the season. This season was emotional for Qadree Ollison. He had switched from number 37 to number 30 to honor his late brother who had passed prior to the season. If Pitt was going to be in this position, if they were going to be coming off of a bad loss to their hated rival, then there had to be some comfort to the Panthers to know that they had the right teammate, right running back, and right leader to build behind like Qadree Ollison. But even after the darkest Pittsburgh reigns, there is a sunrise.
It's life. It's a game of football. It's the adversity that you go through, and then the key is going to be how we rebound from this adversity. That's going to be the key. And I trust and love those kids in that locker room. I got no doubt that they'll come back next week ready to go. Period.
The Panthers got back to work with ACC play and all their goals in front of them. And their next challenge would be a rival with plenty of familiarity. The Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets were a divisional foe in the Coastal Division, one that the Panthers had played every year since their arrival into the ACC. 2017 was Narduzzi's first loss to the Yellow Jackets, and some bad blood lingered.
And we've got to clean that up because against a good team, we won't be able to survive.
The year prior, Paul Johnson had made it very clear he did not think the Panthers were a good team when he beat them down in Atlanta. This year, the Panthers took the field in Pittsburgh. They were 0-0 in the ACC, and ready to show Paul Johnson exactly what a good team really looked like.
They take the jet sweep. Right ahead, running with the football, first down to the 15 to 10, into the end zone. Qadree Ollison, how did he get out of that tackle?
With the Penn State loss seemingly in the rearview mirror, Pitt responded from adversity just as their coach said they would. And in the first half, Pitt did everything but let up on Yellow Jackets. It seemed that Paul Johnson would be eating his words from the previous season, or maybe having them stuffed down his throat.
And here's Darren Hall bouncing in for the touchdown.
Georgia Tech had unsuccessful fourth down attempts, including a fake punt that went absolutely nowhere, while Pitt responded by executing trick plays and showing off the power run game they had just begun to hint at.
Possession for the Panthers. Looking to a flicker. Pickett lining up. Going to shoot it deep. Taysom back is there. Back down the far side. Banged out around the 15.
Pitt entered the second half up 21-0. It seemed like the only question was just how badly Paul Johnson would have to apologize in the postgame. But if there was one thing that could be said about Pitt in 2018, it was this: nothing was easy.
Everybody firing off the ball, winning the battle up front. Your quarterback doesn't question the pitch, puts it out there.
A 3rd and 17 penalty moved the chains for Yellow Jackets, who cashed it in, 21-6 after a missed extra point against the Panthers team that had not yet scored in the second half all season.
There's the dirty laundry on Pittsburgh scoring this year, James.
Yeah, 6 points in that Penn State game a week ago.
33 against Albany in the opener and didn't put any points on the board in the second half.
Alex Kessman's field goal finally broke the dry spell, and the Panthers were up 24-6. It would be the only points these Panthers would score in the second half in this game, and there were times when they looked like a comedy of errors trying to move the ball down the field. Fortunately, though Georgia Tech had the chance to win the game, they fumbled, bobbled, and ultimately dropped their chances to do so. When the clock hit 0, the game was unexpectedly close, but Pitt had won 24-19.